my backyard to yours, less hate, more love. Good barbecue. All right. Well, that is what I call an entrance. Also, this is Max from KamadoMax. Welcome to Bartlow's Barbecue Grill for Good, first live on the show, man. Thanks for being here.
I'm excited. Thank you for including me on this first live, and it's great to see your face and talk and interact live and in person, kind of. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. So where this all got started, if you're watching, I know people are going to be tuning in over time as we cook and we chat about our topic today, and then people have the chance to rewatch this later at a later date. I'm in Oklahoma, and you are in.
I'm in North Georgia, so I'm about an hour north of Atlanta as we start to get into the foothills.
Okay, so here in Oklahoma right now, because it's still warm, it's like fly country right now. I got tons of flies. So if you see them flying in and out of the shot, you know why, and especially with the food behind me and all the smoke.
No, quite all right. You can see here. We have this infestation of these little stink bugs. You can see one right here on the sunshade. Okay. They're flying all over the place and just being a nuisance. So quite all right.
So, well, the purpose of this live today is I've been thinking about going live for a while now, and Kamado Joe a few years ago put together a kind of a campaign I think it's like every December, every Christmas season. They call it Grill for Good or Grills for Good. And I've helped them kind of launch that, where you nominate somebody that's doing good in their community and they have a chance to win a Kamado Joe. And that kind of got my wheels turning. And then also my background in nonprofit, I'm a pastor, do this barbecue stuff on the side as a side hustle and just something fun. That's kind of a hobby that's turned into something more. And it got me thinking about how I can merge these two worlds and also just be, do good and encourage others to do good in this world, especially in the dynamics of our country, in a world where there's not a lot of bright lights, at least on the media and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not one to get into all of that, but I just wanted to take ownership of my own influence the best I could to encourage people to grill for good. And so I'm going to try to do my best throughout the year to kind of have this Grill for Good live podcast or live, whatever, or show, whatever you want to call it. Technically, I'm not sure if it's what you call it, but either way, I'm calling it Grills for Good, and where I want to either highlight a nonprofit organization doing good in the world, or I might even go live at an organization and grill for good and things like that. So that's the premise of this live. And so today, Max and I were just chatting on Instagram, and Hurricane Helene came through, and we were just chit-chatting. I knew he was on that part of the country, and you shared a little bit of the same sentiment of just wanting to make a difference and share different organizations that you are aware of that are on the ground. And this topic hits home. We're going to grill some key lime pie and grilled pound cake here in a little bit. So stay tuned towards the at the end of this, where we will grill here in a moment. But tell us a little bit, like, why is this obviously hit home for you? And obviously everyone's attention is on this, and also Florida. And just it's awful when you start thinking about the impact that it's having in our world, natural disasters. But why is it important to you?
Yeah, I appreciate that, and thanks for the intro. And I think a lot of people for the first time heard the term Western North Carolina, WNC, for the first time in the last couple of weeks. And it's because it really is a region in and of itself. I think if there's could be a 51st state or it's similar to sort of West Virginia and Virginia, it really is its own identity. It's very different from the coast and from Charlotte and things of that. And it's a great state, but Western Carolina is really a unique outlier. It's very mountainous. It's sort of more almost like Eastern Tennessee. Or super North Georgia. And that's where I'm from. I was born in a small town called Cashiers. It actually says it on my hat here. And it's actually not even a town. It's considered a village. And it's 300 people year round live there. My mother recently retired to the next town over. And it's a place that's just very close to my heart. My wife and I, we've spent more and more time up there over the years since we started dating, and ultimately just so we moved from there down to Georgia, and then we've just kind of slowly been making our way back north and spending a lot of time there, have a lot of friends and family. But it just got hit so hard in ways that people don't even understand that that it could affect a region like that. And I was explaining it to someone. It's a very saturated environment. My mother's town is at 4,600 feet elevation. It's very high up. It's one of the highest towns on the east side of this country. And it's technically categorized. It's the Nantahala National Forest, and so it's actually categorized as a rainforest. You think of rainforest, you think of the Amazon, but it's actually has all the elements that let it be a rainforest. There's so much vegetation. There's so many different types of animals. There's more salamanders in that region than any other part of the world. Things like that. It's a very temperate climate, and so even on the hottest days in the middle of summer, you might hit like 85 degrees. That's the hottest it's going to get. And even then, the ground is saturated. It's super green. Flowers are growing, and that's great for when there's not a hurricane. But when you take that environment and you dump the amount of rain and the amount of water and let that water sit, it's basically like taking a giant bucket of water and pouring it onto a sponge that's already been soaked, and it just has nowhere to go except for all around and flooding these towns. Asheville's under so many feet of water. There's mudslides, there's rock slides. The waterfalls are just insane right now. For a while there, for about a week and a half, I couldn't get to my mother. I couldn't drive up the mountain if I wanted to. They resorted strictly to helicopters. They resorted to ATVs and even mules and horses to get some of these areas.
That was shocking to me whenever you sent me a picture of the mules with supplies on it. And you're like, that's going to where my mom lives and people that live up there. I'm like, mind blown. You would think you're watching something in a third world country where there's not well-built roads and people are walking or using mules or donkeys or whatnot. So that was like eye-opening.
It's crazy. It's just something we've never seen before. I actually saw that the governor of North Carolina and the head of FEMA was in my hometown just the other day. And when I talk about like this, for the longest time when I was growing up there's one stoplight. And now there's two stoplights. And so the idea that like high level government officials are showing up to survey storm damage is a pretty wild concept. But thankfully, the area that my mother's in, she's very, very western North Carolina, almost as far as you can get. That didn't get as hard as sort of that Asheville, Banner Elk, Chimney Rock was a very bad hit town. It's really sort of in that like central western corridor that got the worst of it.
Yeah. And then we were chatting too about Samaritan Purse, and there's a lot of nonprofits out there making a difference. So we're going to highlight Samaritan Purse today here in a moment. But also want to make mention, especially if you're in the barbecue world, you may be familiar with barbecue, Operation Barbecue Relief. Fantastic organization and one that you should look to and serve. They always look for volunteers and also giving. I think another one that's big on the national stage and international stage is, I think it's called the World Kitchen. They do wonderful things as well. And then the one today we're talking about is a faith-based one. But no matter if it's faith-based or whatnot, it's just a nonprofit. There's a lot. Even my church has a disaster relief team. I know cities are mobilizing their workforce to get to different parts of the country whenever a disaster hits. So it really takes a village, as the saying goes. But I thought we'd take a moment to highlight and watch a quick video clip of Samaritan's Purse. I'm hoping YouTube doesn't see there's any copyright issues here. But we're going to watch that real quick and then chat a little bit longer about this and then get into grilling. All right, let's watch it.
The east coast of the United States just got decimated by Hurricane Helene. And normally up here in the mountains of North Carolina, we don't feel the effect. A lot of damaged homes. People have lost their lives here in this community in the high country.
Our community is set up for blizzards. We're not set up well for floods. And so it's really catastrophic damages.
The road that we're on here, it's bridges out on the other end, and our slide has got it blocked at this end. Those people, none of them can get out. There's probably, I would say, at least 50 homes or more in there. If you can help somebody, help them. Just bless them.
Samaritan's Purse is responding. We're sending equipment up here, and volunteers will be going out this Monday, starting to help in this community. But this is not the only place we've responded to.
Banner Elk, they're out of water, they're out of food. So we just delivered one load of water to them. In the next couple of days, we're going to be moving more water, more food, baby formula.
We are outside Watauga Hospital to offer a oxygen service to those that have lost access to oxygen at their homes.
The medical system here and also in nearby Avery County at our Linville Hospital, they've asked for help. And so as we deploy our teams to help recover from these floods and help dig out homes and cut trees back, we're also helping medically.
Just really grateful for the partnership with Samaritan's Purse to have a little hope in our community about 12 hours after what could have been probably the most devastating thing that we've probably seen in our life.
Nobody wants to live through a disaster like this, but one of the interesting things is disaster brings us together in a powerful way. So would you please pray for those gospel opportunities, bringing people together in the name of Jesus to serve and to help bring the gospel.
And that's why.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. So that gives you just a great highlight of what Samaritan Purse does. They meet people's needs tangibly, but they're obviously there to help meet spiritual needs. And I know those that are watching aren't always faith-based, but this is just one of those nonprofits that I think does great work that you can trust. And like I said, World Kitchen, also barbecue relief operation as well. So I know my family and I are going to be giving you that in addition to a few other things that we already give to. And so anything else you would want to add to that before we dive into start grilling?
Yeah, I'll just add that I'm not sure if they're based there, but they at least have a pretty major hub in Asheville. Samaritan's Purse does, so okay. They're uniquely qualified to help out in this situation, just in terms of assets that they already have on the ground. This isn't something that they're having to build and then help. They're already there, so it's a good. It's a bad situation, but it's a good fit for the bad situation.
Yeah. Well equipped, and I like that it's holistic. It's obviously disaster relief, probably having physical bodies there moving things, or have been trained in disaster relief on how to cut down branches and things like that. But then also I like the medical need aspect of it, where they're able to find people maybe remotely, or just add to that army of people, because there's probably so many that the local government and hospitals are probably overwhelmed. And so I love that they have a mobile system that they're able to meet those medical needs as well.
And that's a good point that you bring up, just in terms of understanding how to respond to certain disasters. There's I'm sure different parts of the country are better equipped for earthquakes. We don't really have earthquakes that much on this side of the country, but Samaritan's Purse is unique in that they understand the mountainous atmosphere there. That poses certain challenges of being able to physically get up a mountain, different assets in order to, whether it's drones or helicopters, ATVs like we talked about, and understanding sort of the topography and geography of like what a holler is. Like a family might live in a holler that that might not even have an address in some circumstances. So it's definitely unique.
Yeah, and I know with the impact of Hurricane, oh my gosh, I just went blank for a second. Not just Helene, but also
Milton.
Thank you, Milton. I know that they're probably being mobilized as well to go to Florida, and the same organizations we mentioned are probably already figuring out and assessing what those needs are. And that was, just heartbreaking to watch, but I'm glad it reduced to a Cat 3, I think, from what I understand from a distance. But I have some friends that live in the Bay Area over there that used to live here in Oklahoma City, and they're okay, but they definitely had some damage out that way. But glad these organizations exist so that they really can make a difference when they're when they're called upon.
Totally agree. They're great organizations to support.
Well, all right, we're going to switch gears now, and hopefully that just encouraged you to maybe do your part wherever you're watching and wherever you're from. Now we're going to get into some grilling, some desserts. Now, you might be thinking, what the heck? Like, what? You can grill desserts? And, I've been on a barbecue and grilling journey for, I don't know, like 7 to 10 years. I don't even know. I actually started on a gas grill, wasn't really into cooking and barbecue growing up in high school, but for my dad, it was always, he was a steak guy, steak and potatoes guy, which I still am today. But every milestone in life was like, I got a new gas grill. So, graduation, high school, going to college, get a portable one, getting my first house or apartment, got one, and things like that kind of just slowly evolved in getting to a nicer grill. And then my late 30s, decided to upgrade to a Kamado Joe. And I remember seeing a funny meme years ago that was like, when you get into your late 30s, maybe even 40s, that you're either going to get into World War II history and genre, or you're getting into barbecue. And I was like, dude, right. My dad, history guy, history buff, war guy, as far as like what he would spend time researching. And then for me, it's like, nope, barbecue and grilling. And I really started getting into it in my late 30s, started researching and just trial by error. Now I kind of say you have to make bad barbecue before you can make good barbecue. And obviously there's tons of mistakes you can avoid by watching and learning and reading wonderful books and classes now online, and obviously YouTube and our channels as well. But a lot of ways, our channels are teaching people what we've learned and what we're continuing to learn. And that's something about my personality is that you'll notice about my channel is I hope I come across as someone that's competent, yet always learning and sharing my mistakes and along the way. And so just know that that's the spirit of what my channel's about. And I know when you started yours, I'm sure that was the same.
Yeah, so my first grill ever, I don't know what happened. There was one day I got bit by the bug, and I had never really barbecued that much or grilled. We had a grill growing up that we would occasionally cook some steaks on, but nothing crazy, nothing too elaborate. And my wife and I, we were living in an apartment at the time in the city, and we were looking to buy a house. And I just remember thinking that I get to finally have a grill. And I remember sitting in that apartment, and I just binge watched Malcolm Reed, How to Barbecue Right. And I'm sure I've seen every one of his videos at least twice. And I was just like, I was making my plan. I was getting everything together. And I forget what he cooked. He cooked on a big green egg at the time in some of his older videos. He's got every girl on the planet now. But I found Kamado Joe. They're actually headquartered north of Atlanta. And I'm like, this is the one. Like, that was my plan. Like, we're going to get the house, and I'm going to get the backyard. I'm going to get the grill. And that was like the first thing I bought. And I think it was actually my parents' housewarming gift to us was the grill. Awesome. And yeah, it's I had a blast with it. Just I cooked on it every single night. And we talked about this earlier. I decided to start a YouTube channel in 2020, January 2020. Like we all know we were doing then a whole lot of time in the backyard. So it was a perfect time to craft some skill and started my channel. And I appreciate the sentiment of, being real with, how things turn out. I still have a video on there I tried to do a complete steak dinner all in the grill. So like a side, I think I maybe like wrapped a potato in some foil, like do a baked potato and then some filet, some filet mignon. And I overcooked that thing. Like I was aiming for like medium rare. That thing was like well done. I don't know. I still don't really know what happened, but I put it on there. I'm like, this is real. This is the real thing. You can still go watch it and see that it looked like shoe leather. But it's. I can do it better now, but at the time.
I think I've got a few like early chicken videos, on Joe Tisserie, and man, the Joe Tisserie is a learning curve, and I've learned to like it's okay to be transparent on these videos about what you learn and things like that. And I think it wasn't meant to be like a blackened chicken, but it ended up just having like great way more char than I anticipated. And we got some comments on that one. And but you just go, hey, this is part of just the journey and using a new accessory at the time. But we're going to get into grilled desserts. And so I'm going to credit Chef Eric. This is how me and Max met, was through Kamado Joe and having the same grill, and then getting connected to other YouTubers that have cooking channels. And that's how we met years ago. And so Chef Eric is the culinary director for Kamado Joe, and I'm part of their ambassador team and part of their culinary team, where I occasionally get to do special events. And I've done Memphis in May with them, and recently had the opportunity to go to Seattle and cook for some folks there, and just a lot of fun. And so I'm constantly looking to Chef Eric as, like, you know, you always have a mentor, and I've never told him, hey man, you're my mentor, but if you're watching, Eric, you the man. Love learning from you, who has this background, and I'm self-taught learning, and I just love doing it. But
he's a great guy. I was actually I was at the Atlanta Grill Company, which is just a famous place here in Atlanta. We're lucky it's just road, everything you could ever hope for. I was there just pick up some spices and rubs and everything, and I just heard this familiar voice from across. I'm like, there's no way he's here. And then, like, sure enough, it was him. I think he was filming some stuff, and went over and talked to him for a little while. He's from North Carolina also, actually. So, yeah. And good guy, really good guy.
There's some great people in Carolina, and like Sean Setzler, I think, from Kamado, you know, he's from there as well. So I learned, you know, he always teaches me, like, through his videos and just conversations and stuff like that, to push the limits, try things. And now I've kind of adopted the philosophy, anything like you would cook on, you can cook in your kitchen in your house or your oven, stovetop, man, cook it on your Kamado. So this is kind of the principle of doing grilled desserts now, and it's also one that I wanted to challenge myself to this year, is do things I normally don't do on routine. So grilled desserts, these two were inspired by Chef Eric, and I've done these a few times, so it's been a lot of fun. So now we're going to get into it, and I've got my Big Joe here, and then my Joe Jr. going here, and it's the Lord of the Flies here. So I apologize. Hopefully that's not too disgusting for you to keep watching, but here we are anyways. So what we're going to do is, so we're going to start with our key lime pie, and I've got like 9 egg yolks here already ready to go, and also going to dump in some condensed
So the fall, that happens to be all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, loud and clear.
All right, cool. All right, so we got, I'm gonna have to use this little contraption here.
I remember once I was on the cooking out here on the back porch, and I mentioned this earlier off camera, but our deck is getting stained, and so like all my girls are all over the place. It looks like a war zone. So this is like the only shot. All right, but I was grilling one night, and I had a lemon on the table, and my 3-year-old at the time, he just walked on over it, and he loves like throwing like golf balls, tennis ball, whatever. He picked that lemon up and he chucked it off the porch.
Wow. All right, so getting this condensed milk in there. Then I've got, start mixing this up here. All right, so.
Now, what's that bottle there? Is that lemon juice or?
Oh, right here? Yeah, this is Nellie's lime juice.
Lime juice.
We're going to end up putting in, put these cans in here for trash, and try to should have covered this up earlier. I mean, this is like horrendous. For my first live getting the Lord of the Flies, I was hoping it was going to be a little colder. This is good. And then now we're going to pour in this lemon juice. Lime juice here. Oh yeah.
Looking good.
And then we got the Kamado Joe Jr. I'm going to use both of these, 325 to 340. And then we're just going to pour this in here. Make sure I can. There we are. Oh yeah.
That's looking good. Right. That's the right ratio right there.
That looks like it got the right ratio. Yeah, perfect. You can see that pretty good?
Yeah, looks awesome.
All right, so now we are going to just put this on the grill for 15 minutes. And then from here, we are going to let it cook for 15 minutes. That's kind of the plan. And then we'll let it sit out for 10 minutes. When that 15-minute mark hits, to let it settle, we'll do a little shake test to see. Let me get more paper towels to cover this part up. And then this is just to show you what this looks like. So I'm putting the lime juice in there.
There you go.
And then this is the Key West lime juice from Nellie and Joe's. Is what we put in there. It's a really straightforward recipe. You just buy pre-made crust there, and you can make it yourself with graham crackers and some unsalted butter, and then smash it together. But if you're just wanting to save time and kind of learn that art, it's super simple. You just we're gonna let this go for 15 minutes, then bring it back out for 10 minutes, which I'll probably bring inside because of the flies, and then you refrigerate it. You can refrigerate it overnight. Or even until it's cold enough where you're able to slice into it. Then I also, and I'm not going to, I'm going to do something real quick. We made homemade whipped cream, and I made this already just to kind of speed up the process, but you just want to buy your whip. And then we also have, or the cream, and then we added a tablespoon or two, and I'll have this in the description, of vanilla extract in there, some bourbon as well.
Nice.
And then you just mix it up until it's all whipped. And I think the art of good whip is making sure it doesn't go anywhere. I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator. Wow.
It's like Dairy Queen Blizzards. They have to serve it to you upside down, otherwise it's free.
Yes. All right, I'm back. So just have an outdoor refrigerator, put that in while we wait. And then, do you make homemade whipped cream?
I'm not much of a baker. I can't remember the last time I've actually put some, and maybe it's just because I like the sort of the controlled chaos of grilling in like a live fire, but I don't have the patience of any sort of like to measure. No, this is cool. This is approachable. I could do this, but like when you start talking about X amount of grams of flour versus 15 grams of baking soda and things like that, that's where you kind of lose me. I could never bake a cake, for example. Yeah, but I could do this.
Well, I'm the same way. I'm not really a baker. My wife usually does that kind of side of things. Although we like to cook together, but same thing. I'm just not in practice of baking a lot of things, but I'm interested, and this is a great step towards that. And especially, it's just like a couple of ingredients, put it together, right, and you're done. So I think this is one I'm excited about for the holidays. And I know, like, typically pumpkin pie, or pumpkin pie is a popular thing, which I love. Which I think I'm going to also do that one as well for the holidays. But I think I might bring this one up to change it up and always remind yourself, I love summer, so I'm going to bring this around even during the holidays.
Yeah. Especially because I feel like by the end of the holidays, we've all had pumpkin pie. We've all had, all the different kind of candies that they bring out during the season and everything. It's a good to kind of mix it up and kind of like it's refreshing too, just something different.
Yes, 100%. Well, now while we got this going, I'm going to do some grilled pound cake. This might be the simplest thing you'll see on the Kamado Joe. And I didn't bring it out here, but strawberries, blueberries is really a great way to go here. And just take a few slices like this. I'm going to do a few and then put this back for the sake of cooking. And then what we're literally going to do, you can use your tongs if you'd like, but use your hands in the beginning. Get your grill really fired up to even like 400 degrees. It doesn't have to be too crazy. And you're literally just going to grill some pound cake, man. And that's it. You're going to leave it on there for a few minutes, or not even a few minutes, just 30 seconds per side. And then flip it. Try to get some grill marks. It kind of gives it nice texture. It kind of hardens the exterior, but keeps it really soft in the inside. And then topple that with the homemade whipped cream with some blueberries and strawberries, and you've got something fun.
The Southern in me is thinking that grilled peach would go good on that also with some whipped cream.
You see that?
There you go. I like that.
That
looks awesome.
Good grill mark there. Oh, or tell us more about that one. What was that? mentioned?
Yeah, no. So we got peach season here. Everyone calls Georgia is the peach state. South Carolina actually produces more peaches, but we don't acknowledge that most of the time.
Yeah.
But when peaches are in season, man, that's one of the best things to do is split it in half and throw it on the grill. Maybe a little ice cream, maybe some whipped cream. It's divine.
I love it. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, but that would be good. You throw that on top of some of that grilled pound cake there. That'd be really good.
100%. And then one thing I'm going to mention, because I don't know if we'll have enough time for the cake here or the lemon key lime pie, but take lime, you slice it up into a thin slice, and then once you get it thinly sliced, then you'll kind of cut it where it's still connected, and then you'll flip it, layer it on top of some whipped cream on your slice of key lime. It kind of, and then get your stuff one of these guys, and then all around that, you're going to just,
little zest action there.
Exactly. A little fun. So that's kind of the grill strategy. I'm going to grab these off the grill here. I think it doesn't need much. Just gives you a nice little crust, gives some texture as well. And it's just fun. It's kind of entertaining. And just to have this around. And then, like I said, you could plate it however you'd like with some whipped cream and some strawberries. And also, there we go.
Oh, I like that.
If I was serving this to a community, some whipped cream, strawberries, and some blueberries chopped up. And then, man, you've got a nice, simple treat.
I love it. That's you nailed those girl marks there.
Oh, thank you, man. So this is pretty fun, super straightforward. I'm gonna put these in this section here. So the flies. And then I'm wondering, get my hot glove. You think it's been how long? How many minutes? I haven't even been paying attention. I wonder if we're at close to 15 minutes yet.
Probably need a few more minutes on that. I think we're probably, if I had to guess, I think we're probably 7 minutes in.
7 minutes in. All right. You get lost in time when you're going live. When you're going live.
Yeah. We've been talking for 32 minutes though. I mean, I guess it's been good conversation. Maybe I've lost track of time. It might have been 15 minutes.
No. I think you're right, because then obviously talking about all the stuff up front and then just getting into it. So about 7 minutes on it on the grill. So yeah, another 7 minutes or so, and we will do a little show and tell here.
Very cool. Maybe we can let's banter back and forth to do like 20 questions or something.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I've got, let's see, I'm trying to think about the things I've been doing lately on the grill. I've done a few videos recently that I'm excited about be posting. But one that's simple, it's been really popular, is taking baby back ribs and cutting them into like kind of country style or party ribs, cooking faster and just easier. That one's a fun one that I've got that I just put out. Have you done your ribs that way, where you kind of pre-cut them like that?
I've never cut them that way. I kind of, my ribs, I do spare ribs for the most part. And that's one of the recipes that I've really nailed down, and I try not to change too much. It's actually one of my most popular videos.
Oh, dude, I've seen that one. That one's epic.
It's a good one. It was one of my earlier ones, but it's a lot of people do the 3-2-1 ribs, and that's good. That's a great strategy. But I've always just found that over time it was too much. So I actually started doing a 2-1.5. So 2 hours smoked, 1 hour wrapped with some apple cider vinegar and whatever sauce, like maybe a vinegar based sauce that I like Malcolm Reed's. And then about 30 minutes outside of the wrap, then you give another glaze. And for me, that's for the ribs that like big meaty spare ribs. For me, that's perfect. It gets you that good bite through. It's not falling apart. So yeah, I've been scared to like change anything, because it really is just like it works. It just works each time.
At the end of the day, that's what matters, man. When you've got your process down and you got great results, you just keep going. So I love that. Recently, I was partnering with Meat and Bone. They sent me a picanha
Oh,
And I did a rotisserie. I got a video coming out in like 2 or 3 weeks, a rotisserie picanha, it was so delicious. But the one that probably shocked me that I've never done before was a short rib lollipop.
now how does that work?
So like they Frenched it, they cut it off, they cut it and kind of filleted it out and then wrapped it around the bone. And then they braided it to keep it together. And so that one's going to come out, I think, next week. I'm going to post that video. But man, it was a quick cook because it's only 2 pounds, and I treated it kind of like a low and slow brisket, cook it a 250. And obviously 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds. It took about right under 3 hours, and that included the rest where I just smoked it in indirect 250, and then I wrapped it in beef tallow
Nice.
once it was probe tender and let it rest in that beef tallow, kind of like the what's the big popular barbecue place in Texas right now, Goldie's. They call it the Goldie's method.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So where they just cook it unwrapped until it's done and then pull it and then wrap it in beef tallow. So that's kind of their brisket strategy. So I was like, I'm going to apply that to this. Man, it was delicious. It was super tender.
It sounds good. I think that's one of the things that, especially as like you get into the holidays, with like big meals, big family meals that are designed to feed a lot of people, like embrace that rest period. I had someone reach out, this was a couple of years ago, and they were asking me how to basically time when the prime rib comes off. And I was saying, like for me, at least, if I'm hosting or if I'm having people over for food, and like whether it's ribs or a prime rib or a pork butt, don't even try to time the end of the cook to when people are getting there. Have that thing done and have that be resting for an hour before anyone shows up. That way, when they get there, they can have something right away if they want, or if it's 2 hours later, they can dive in on a pork butt and make a sandwich. It's only going to help. And I think embracing that is like, it doesn't have to be 15 minutes to an hour, and it's only good within that. Like, let it sit.
Yes, 100%, dude. I've been learning a lot about resting to your barbecue, and I recently bought myself a residential warmer.
Nice.
And dude, that's a game changer. I had a tailgating men's event for my church recently, and it wasn't a huge event, but like 50 guys, and I cooked my brisket the day before, and then I let it rest in the warmer at 150, wrapped in beef tallow for 14 hours.
Yeah.
It was the most tender brisket I think I've ever done, and it's now 100% going to be my new strategy moving forward if I'm doing it for myself or for others. Because usually I've got Fridays to start a cook because it's my day off. But if I want it Saturday, or even no matter what, I'm going to want it Saturday regardless.
Yeah.
But if I had to do it, then I would just start the day before. But man, that long hold with this warmer, dude, it was awesome. And I did the pork butt that same way. I cooked it on a Friday, and once it was done, I put it in the warmer, and it was awesome.
I went to this one barbecue joint, and it was in a food hall back in Atlanta, and I forget the name, but I remember it was a brand new food hall, so we were just kind of exploring. I ordered a pulled pork sandwich from this place, and he goes to this, it probably was like a food warmer, and he pulls out, it was like a cling wrap, like saran wrap, like ball of pulled pork, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then he unwraps it and kind of chops it up and throws it on the bun, and it was incredible. And it was at the time I didn't have a grill, so I didn't really know what he was doing, but I'm just like, I've never seen that before. But like that he was doing, who knows how long he had been sitting in there. He could have made his the day before, but it was absolutely just delicious.
That is awesome. All right, here's another topic around barbecue, and it's one that I'm just not getting into. I've done it 4 times now, and so I'm gonna probably do it another 1 or 2 more times, and then I'm gonna do a video on it, or at least my learning. But I'm getting into learning how to make my own sausage.
Yeah, I saw that. Looks good.
Oh man, it's pretty cool process. Pretty tedious, but once you kind of learn the ins and outs and the basic principles, it's straightforward. But man, it's been really fun.
What is that? What kind of meat is that? Is that like beef sausage? Pork sausage?
You can do either one, but I've been doing 50-50, ground pork, ground beef. And then if you have leftover brisket, or leftover, well, I'd say not leftover, but if you have an extra one in your freezer and you want to chop it up. So you can grind it together. That's the big idea. You can grind the pork butt, and then also the beef, whatever beef you want, if it's brisket or whatnot. So I've done that. I have a grinder, but I have a stuffer. And to get myself going, and this is like a little cheat hack that I would recommend if anyone wants to, they're like, I don't want to buy a brisket, I don't want to buy a pork butt and have a chance of the sausage not spend that money. And what if it doesn't go well? So a cheap option and one that still produces good results, and I know it's going to be better when you do it the other way, but I'm starting this way, is buying pre-ground 70-30 ground beef and also pork, and do them, and it's already pre-ground, and then you just add the right percentage of ingredients in that, and then you soak your casings overnight. That's going to give you the most optimal results. So that's a great beginner hack. You don't have to buy a big honking pork butt or whatnot or beef to ground yourself, and then the mixture is already buy it pre-ground, and then add the right mixtures, and then just find a really solid recipe and follow the ingredients. And then a key to it is adding like a binder, like milk powder or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to cold smoke, you need to use, a curing salt. I use Instacure #1 from the sausage maker, and they're the one I partnered with to go and get on this sausage journey. It's been a lot of fun.
What's the biggest challenge? Because I think back, did you ever catch that Netflix show, American Barbecue Showdown?
Yeah, you've seen it. I haven't watched it like religiously, but I have seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good show. But I remember in season 1 in particular, and I think even season 2, like it was almost like a long running joke that anyone who tried to make sausage, it just totally blew up in their face and it wasn't good. And so it's almost been a little bit intimidating to take that on, to your point. So what's the biggest hurdle? Like what's the first mistake that everyone makes when making sausage?
Yeah. So I think the biggest learning curve for me is doing it by yourself. It's usually ideally a 2-person job. And so when you have a stuffer, and you have it's kind of an automatic one, or not automatic one, where it's manual mode.
Yeah.
Handle. But you're not going to, most likely you're not going to spend your first one be your nice one where it's an electric and you have a pedal and you can
right
get it going. So that's been my biggest challenge, is getting my stuffer to stay still as I'm grinding, or as I'm moving the handle and it's coming out of the casing, into the casing, out of the tube. And you have to have your hand a certain way to make sure that you don't have any pops, and so it's kind of tricky doing it yourself, where you're like kind of pushing it out, getting all the meat compressed down. Yeah. And then you have your hand where the sausage is coming into the casing. And so one of the things I'm going to try to do next is I'm going to drill, because it's got holes. My specific mixer has holes. I'm going to drill it into a piece of wood. Okay. And then use clamps to my countertop to kind of keep it still, so that it'll be easier to because otherwise right now it's moving and I'm having to use my whole body to kind of get it.
Yeah. It sounds like there's 3 different things going on at the exact same time.
100%. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is being a one-man person doing this, until maybe I can afford to do an electric one where I have a foot pedal and it makes it a little bit more easy on myself. But right now I'm only doing 5 pounds at a time, which my girls and my kids and my wife don't really eat sausage a ton. So I'd be making it for neighbors, which a lot of my barbecue, that's what I end up doing, giving to neighbors or whatnot, or save it throughout the week. So 5 pounds right now is perfect. It's a 5-pound stuffer, and that's perfect for my season, knowing my kids aren't going to be eating a lot of that, or my girls. So I'm good with doing the manual mode and continuing to learn tricks on how to do it solo.
Nice, cool. That's definitely something on my list that I want to try to tackle, because that's one of my go-tos whenever I go to a barbecue restaurant. It's ribs, brisket, and sausage is what I'm kind of choosing in between.
Oh man, here we go. We're gonna do the little jiggle test, and it's starting to come together, but I think it still needs a little bit more time. Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I can. It's always a little bit jiggly, right? When it's warm, but that kind of firms up a little bit. So I can't see how jiggly it is, but yeah, maybe a few more minutes.
I'm thinking a few more minutes, and then I let it air dry for 10 minutes, and then it'd be ready to serve and put in the refrigerator. Probably won't. I'll show you maybe before we sign off. Show us the final what it looks like, but then probably won't stay on for the 10 minutes of.
Yeah, no, that's something that's better, like even the next day or after it's been in the fridge for a while. So definitely post a picture of that when it's.
Yes, I'll take a picture of it, post it on my Instagram, maybe in my community tab here on YouTube as the final product for these things, man. So, well, man, I appreciate you jumping on live here, and this has been fun to talk about ways that we can give back to the community, highlight great organizations, and then also talk about our grilling journey and some hacks along the way, man.
Totally, yeah, and I appreciate the invite and letting me kind of share a little bit of the stories. It's Western North Carolina is a special place, and I think, like I said, a lot of people are sort of learning about it for the first time, just given this, and it's a great area. We could even have talked for like a good hour just about their barbecue in particular. Western Carolina has its own style. A lot of people think of Carolinas, they think South Carolina mustard or the East Carolina like heavy vinegar, but Western Carolina is that vinegar, but also with some tomato. A lot of times you'll see it referred to as Lexington style, and it's great. It's my personal favorite. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah, it's and I'll give a shout out to someone who does a good rendition of his Eli Lilly, Lily's barbecue. You've seen his barbecues in like the nice glass jars. He makes a Western Carolina one, and I encourage anyone to if they see it, pick it up because it's very good. It's super balanced, not too sweet. Got that vinegar punch. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out for it. But no, this has been awesome, and I'm going to try these recipes and look forward to more of these.
I love it. And friends, I know Max isn't actively like on his channel right now, but he's got probably years worth of content that's totally worth checking his channel out. He's got some, like he said, that famous rib recipe and a handful of other ones that are worth checking out. So, man, we appreciate you jumping on the channel here for our first live, and hopefully we'll stay connected and see you next time.
That sounds awesome. Thanks so much. Everyone have a great weekend, and let me know how that pie turns out.
Absolutely, it will. And everyone that's watching, from my backyard to yours, less hate, more love, good barbecue. Till next time.